Cities in the desert often go through various problems which the rest of the world's inhabitants can hardly imagine. Lack of water in certain areas, problems with technology due to excessive heat, and even poor network coverage compared to other nations. Yes, they sometimes have to deal with a lot of problems. Fortunately for them, these regions have some of the richest people in the world and have what it takes to revolutionize their nations. Would you go and live in a desert country if it had a new generation of technology? Would you change your country of origin to be able to enjoy all that is on offer in these authentic sanctuaries? As we have already seen in videos on the channel, many kings, princes, and personalities in the Middle East have tried to form their own utopias in their respective nations. On the one hand, we have cities almost next to seas and other water sources, and on the other hand, we find some projects that actually aim to modernize existing sites. Few are focused on two sites at the same time, so let's see what they have planned for Saudi Arabia. New cities in the desert. One fact that everyone knows about the largest country on the Arabian Peninsula is that they have some of the world's most luxurious fortunes. Thanks to their inherited oil fortunes, we know that princes, sheiks, and other VIPs on that side of the world tend to keep their coffers well stocked, even in hard times. Today, despite the global crisis that is affecting the economy, many countries and companies are feeling the pinch as they seek to save the tremendous problem that seems to threaten most of the world. Not all are succeeding, but several countries in the Middle East are resisting with a strength we rarely see from one nation. Saudi Arabia is one such country that is not as sinking as precipitously as others, and it seems that its government is willing to continue to show the power and strength that has always distinguished it, with some of the most ambitious projects seen in recent years. A plan that, if realized, could take the nation to another level in terms of technology, tourism, and futuristic architecture. For those unfamiliar with the nation's aircraft, the Saudi Arabian government has just made an announcement that appeared before hundreds of people around the world. In an effort to promote sustainable living and environmental protection, two initiatives are planned that will help reduce the climate impact in that region of the world. The first of these projects is to plant at least 50 billion trees to prevent the progressive desertification that has been gradually destroying the country's agricultural land. Similarly, this proposal is also an effort to alleviate the clear impact that Saudi Arabia is suffering as a result of the climate crisis. While the plan may sound impossible and far in the future, government institutions are seeking to overcome a whole host of problems that will arise as the greenhouse effect begins to manifest itself on their land. What few people know about Saudi Arabia is that the area has been hit hard by the terrain that is devouring the desert. There is more and more sand on land that used to be cultivated, and the population suffers from the limited amount of food they can get. Today, Saudi Arabia is the 20th most polluted country in the world, and air quality is falling further and further. These worrying figures, coupled with the sharp drop in oil prices since the pandemic began, have led the country to consider alternatives for survival. Prince Mohammed bin Salman, heir to the Saudi throne, has to achieve what seems too much to be impossible in a very short time. And although this first project may seem completely crazy, it is not as impressive as the second project he has in mind: a forced alliance. Along with the proposal to plant 50 billion trees, Saudi Arabia has reached a consensus in which it has decided to seek the help of several neighboring countries. This is after realizing that they are not the only ones suffering from food and water shortages in their respective nations. With that request, the Crown Prince has issued a statement in which he pledges to obtain 50% of his energy from renewable sources so that by 2030 he will achieve that goal, along with a 30% increase in the areas protected by his government. As for the pact it made with neighboring territories, all have decided to reduce CO2 emissions by 60%. As one of the world's leading oil producers, we're fully aware of our responsibility in advancing the fight against the climate crisis, and that, like our pioneering role in stabilizing energy markets during the oil and gas era, we will act to lead the next green era, the Saudi prince said. While the prince's statements stem from a royal concern, many experts believe that the nation does not have the water or the money to realize both projects in the time frame they have agreed to. Which begs the question of, what will happen to the rest of the ruler's plans? Impressive. That's what comes to mind when we see the impressive number of changes in aircraft that are projected within the territory of Arabia. Of course, we still need more information to find out, so let's continue with the video. A multi-pronged effort. As we've told in other videos on the channel, Prince Mohammed is trying to bring his Saudi Arabia into the new century with a whole series of plans and constructions that, while seemingly impossible, he is confident he can realize. One such approach focuses on a certain method that, according to some experts in the field, could increase rainfall within the territory by up to 20%. All this by manipulating the weather around them. For those who are not familiar with this technology, its creation is not so recent, but it is just gaining enough fame to attract the attention of personalities such as the Prince. Using a variety of processes, the scientists are able to create or seed artificial clouds, allowing moisture to reach those areas that are so hard hit by the heat. If that sounds incredible to you, another of the Saudi Arabian government's plans is the Red Sea Project. A holiday paradise, it was designed by the architectural firm Norman Foster. This promises to be the world's most ambitious tourism project, as it will consist of 50 luxury hotels that will have their home in Sharira, an archipelago of more than 90 islands resting in the Red Sea. And why so many hotels? Some may ask, which is why the Prince is not only looking to attract the tourism sector, but he also wants to build several sustainable structures with 100% renewable energy, zero waste policy, and various technologies that will mediate the salinity of the water, the tides, and the carbon footprint of the guests. As we can see, Mohammed has been very busy with all these projects in his sights, and that's not counting the mega city of the future we told you about in a video, Neom. However, many professionals believe that the Prince's wishes could not only backfire on his government, but could endanger the lives of much of the population and those who have chosen to serve. Even those who speak out on these issues in his country seem to be in the eye, and proof of this is what happened to journalist Jamal Khashoggi, an unfortunate event that made Norman Foster or Carlo Ratti defect to his plane. This only tells us that if the Prince is not careful with his actions, he could face the crisis that is changing his country alone. We have reached the end of the video of the day. From the information they have released about both projects, we could say that Arabia seems to have everything well structured, at least for the time being. Creating a protected area that cares for the environment is no easy task, let alone starting with 2 such projects and continuing with the rest of a nation's established plans. Now that you know more about these ambitious initiatives, what do you think of them and the money being invested in them? Would you visit any of these projects when they are ready? Leave your comments on today's post, and don't forget to add your suggestions for future videos. Thank you very much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a like. See you next time.